Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm grateful for the invitation and to be in the presence of royalty, His Majesties, our queens, our princesses. I'm grateful to be here. I acknowledge everyone. In fact, I've noticed that the Soil of Africa leadership was here. In fact, just recently, I had the opportunity to engage with Bongani Ramoja, the president of the Soil of Africa. And we have already developed a relationship on aspects that we have common interests on. And remember, as Jawasa, and as you've expressed, I'm Neelan Carrican, the president of Jawasa, the Judicial Officers Association of South Africa. We are the largest association of judicial officers in the country, representing district court magistrates, regional court magistrates, and a few high court judges. So it's important for us, whenever we are invited to platforms like this, to make sure that our leadership on the ground gets recognized, gets supported, because when you have an issue, you quite ordinarily come to the courts for assistance. And we need to know what the difficulties are, and we get that information directly and first-hand from you. We shouldn't be getting it second-hand, third-hand. We need it first-hand. And we must be seen as the judiciary to be caring, to be available, and to acknowledge the difficulties that we have on the ground. Now, just as the traditional authority has various difficulties, because you will notice that in our South African constitution, and we've discussed this before, traditional leadership and authority is not properly expressed in our constitution. You will look at the clause that deals with leadership, and it's a very small clause. There's just a few lines that express your authority, and then there's the creation of the Traditional Courts Act. You shouldn't be in any act. You should be properly expressed in the Constitution. It's very important. The same with yourselves. You might not have known this, but I've expressed this before. The judiciary, remember magistrates, we do 95% of all judicial work in the country. It's not done in the High Court. When you need to go to court, you go to the magistrates' court for maintenance, domestic violence, harassment, small claims, civil trials, motion court, eviction, PI matters, ESTA. All these things, you come to us. And even the magistrates, just like you, we are not recognized in the South African Constitution. When you look at the Constitution, you will see they will talk of High Court judges, Labor Court judges, Constitutional Court judges, but they don't talk about magistrates. We've got entities like regional court presidents. We've got regional court magistrates, chief magistrates, senior magistrates. We've got district court magistrates. We've got acting magistrates. But it's not reflected there. We want to change that. And all this change will happen in Parliament because they need to institute and promulgate legislation that's in line. They have been quick to pass legislation that supports the Constitution, and everything that's done ordinarily is deliberate. It is intentional to promote the Constitution. So when we, as leaders in the judiciary, within the traditional authority, when you are sidelined in the Constitution, I get the impression that that is also deliberate, intentional. We cannot allow that. So we are holding powers that be accountable. Because if they don't do the job, whether it's the Chief Justice, the Minister of Justice, the Chairperson of the Magistrates Commission, the Chairperson of the Independent Remuneration Committee, if their conduct is deliberate and intentional, then that is tantamount to defeating the ends of justice. Does that make sense? But we don't want to go there. We shouldn't go there. We want to convince them to do the right thing, pass the right laws, recognize us effectively, and get the benefits that you are entitled to. Why should we be begging and fighting and creating different organizations? Although these organizations are important, but why must we do that? They need to start doing the right thing. So as Juhasa, remember we are already in the public space. We've been picketing at Parliament, the union buildings, Constitutional Court. Everybody knows our plight. And they know your plight too. Because as we are progressing, we want to express the difficulties that you have. So we are not working alone and we are not being selfish. We want to work together because you are supporting us. You are supporting a single independent judiciary in the country. If you don't have a strong independent judiciary, there's going to be big problems. And right now, the judiciary in the form of the magistrates, they have not received their cost of living adjustment from April, and they're not getting it this year. There's no indication that the powers that be want to do their job. There's no major review that we were promised 17 years ago. We have not received it. Prosecutors earn more than magistrates, and they are junior to us. And why are we being deliberately discriminated against? So that's what we want to do. We want to get to the bottom. Right now, the courts are going to be going on a so-called work to rule, because we work overtime, we work at home, we do things at home, write our judgments, do our research at home, our own time, but nobody cares. So it seems to me that we're going to have to just go to work, do what we're supposed to, and when the time is up, we will have to just stop so that they can recognize us. It's called work to rule. Unfortunately, that is the position we are currently at, and do not be concerned. Our priority is to ensure that you have access to justice. Our courts are open for you. Emergency, urgent matters will always be dealt with. All right. So as an organization, thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation once again. I'm very grateful. And we want to have unity. We want to work together. And we'll always be there for you. Thank you, Your Majesties.